Hi folks, my name is Randy Reisenen, and I'd like to talk to you today about a product called By the Numbers. It has really made my life easier, and I think it can really make your life easier. As you can see, I'm pretty excited to talk about it. I think it has what really a lot of small business people with a sales force or sales outlets, and if they are spending any dollars on advertising or marketing, I think it's made to order for you. The reason I can say that is because I've been basically a small business entrepreneur all my life. Started my first company when I was 19 years old. And I've been through and had my head banged against the wall on most of the things that I would think that a lot of you are running into. Things such as, how do I keep track of my customers? How do I keep track or track my cost of leads, the cost per lead, cost per sale? How do I keep track of which salespeople are doing what, which salespeople are having better success with which kind of leads, all of this kind of stuff. And I think I have a really good solution for you. Again, it's called By the Numbers. It is a software program created by small business people for small business people. I think there's a big difference there. Most software programs that are available out in the marketplace today, some of them are really good programs, but they are created by programmers and they really don't understand small business. Typically, they are created for much larger businesses. And they probably work quite well for a lot of the larger businesses, but they're typically very expensive. They're typically quite complex and hard to use. Have quite a steep learning curve, and these kinds of things. We said, no, there's got to be a better way. Let's create a software program for small businesses that are easy to use, not very expensive, and yet provide all the data that a small business person needs. So we started out with the front end, which is called a CRM. CRM does such things as is a customer database, and it can be used for, as soon as that call comes in, it is recorded and entered into the program or the database, which is called, again, a CRM. And the customer's information, the customers or the potential customers' information is entered as far as name, address, what he's calling for, what he or she is calling for, those kinds of things. Now they are entered into your software program. Depending where it goes, typically it would go to a salesperson. So the salesperson would then also be entered and linked with the customer. Another item that would be entered and linked is because the customer is asked, or the person who's calling in is asked, how did you hear of us? And typically they'll say either friend, neighbor, father, mother, newspaper, TV, radio, whichever it is. And that is entered in there. So now, depending what happens next, but most likely a salesperson would go out there and visit with the customer on whatever it may be. But how do you track that? How do you start to use all of this information? You have all this data. Well, that's where By the Numbers really starts to shine, because you can just push a few letters on the keyboard and you can start pulling out these reports. Typically, a CRM does not do analytical reports. By the Numbers does. You can get reports such as closing ratios, cost per lead, sale acquisition per sale, sale acquisition per salesman cost. All of these kinds of things, plus you have the normal natural benefits of a typical CRM where you can do mailing lists, you can do checking up on leads and see what status they're in. You can do reminders as far as, something needs to have a maintenance checkup done on it, or all of those kind of sort of standard features with a CRM. But what's really, really beautiful in my mind is that when it comes to marketing and it comes to the salespeople, the person who is dealing with this, the person who is making the marketing or advertising expenditure decisions, can look at what historically have I spent, what historically have I gotten in the way of leads, what historically have I gotten in the way of sales, what has the average sale been as far as dollars go, and all of this is computed and at your fingertips at any time. You also can look at the salesperson's side. And you can look at an individual salesperson, you can look at the sales force as a whole. You can compare the sales force to an industry norm or industry standard. You can compare a salesperson to anybody else in the sales force. You can compare the salesperson to an industry norm. So when you're talking to a salesperson and trying to do some training or trying to maybe sell a salesperson a new theory or a new idea, or, hey, have you ever thought of this or that? You have facts and figures to back you up. So it's not a judgmental thing or just your opinion. Those facts and figures are there. So without hurting anybody's feelings, without coming across, hard, so to speak, you can just use the numbers that are there, and the numbers are accurate. The salesperson believes in the numbers. You believe in the numbers. And so then you could just get on with the discussion. You don't have to first try to get credibility and try to get confidence and all of these kinds of things. The numbers are what the numbers are. So I think that tracking numbers are vitally important, whether it's weight loss, whether it's checkbook, whether it's golf score, whatever it is. If you want to track a result or track the progress towards a result, you do have to track the numbers. And that is what's been put into By the Numbers. It's really, really dynamite. We started out doing it for years and years via paper and pencil, and it can be done that way. Unfortunately, it takes a lot of time, and time is money. And so consequently, you typically don't get a report more than, say, once a month. Well, you're waiting for a whole month to go by. You might be very excited to see, hey, how's that new TV spot or radio spot? How did that work? We just started it last week. What kind of response am I getting? This kind of thing. Well, with By the Numbers, you can get it right now. You maybe hired a new salesman. Or maybe you had a good sales meeting you thought it was really dynamite, and the sales force is going to go out there and just really go to town. Well, you have to wait a month or 5 weeks or so before you get the results of that. With By the Numbers, boom, hit the keyboard, pop up the reports. You can see them right now. It's just dynamite. Again, I hope I've said enough to get you interested, kind of whet your appetite, and I would suggest and I would advise you to go to our website, which is getbythenumbers.com. Look at some of the information we have there. Possibly, well, I hope you will. Ask for a free demo. I think you'll be very glad you did. I think that By the Numbers is really something that can help you out a lot. I know it's helped me. It's made my life easier. I really, really like it. The salespeople like it. The administrative people like it. I mean, I think it's really got a lot of fans, and it's used in several different types of companies. So I feel very confident when I say that for a smaller company, smaller being, I don't know, less than $30 to $50 million in annual revenues, but a smaller company, which can actually be quite large, and goes all the way down to maybe, I don't know, $500,000 or $1 million or something like that. If you're having salespeople and you're spending money on advertising or marketing, I really think By the Numbers is what you need. Thank you. I hope you'll visit us. Talk to you soon.